Take fun. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 9 o'clock, and being a retired military guy, I like to start on time. I welcome you to the Guam Legislature. The Committee on Education, Finance, and Taxation now convenes this public hearing. The public hearing notices were given to the media on Wednesday, February 8th, on Friday, February 10th, and for the record, today is February 15th, Wednesday, and the time now is 9 o'clock. The committee will hear and accept testimonies, both oral and written, on the following nominees. We have board appointment of Earl J. Garrido for Cockpit License Board, term of 1 year. We have Candy C. Okuhama, is that correct? For the position of ABC, the Alcohol Beverage Control Board, term length is 2 years. And an appointment of Raymond A. Schnabel for Insurance Banking and Representative for the Guam Banking and Insurance Board, term of 6 years. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Vice Speaker, Senator Therese Terlai, and Senator Frank Uggan. Okay, join. Okay, the conduct of this public hearing shall be as follows. Those testifying will be recognized in the order of the sign-up on the sign-in sheet. Written testimony may be read. Lengthy written testimony should be summarized to about 5 minutes. Written testimony shall be submitted to the committee. And please provide our legislative staff with your written testimony for photocopying. Testimony shall be confined to the substance or the nature of the nominee's appointment. Persons will be allowed to present oral testimony only once. Once you're done, you may be asked to remain in the room for questions or for additional testimony as may be desired by the members of the panel. When you speak, please make sure that you speak on the microphone, and please state your name for the record. We'll begin public testimony, and the first signed in happened to be Candy. Would you like to please come before the panel, and then we'll hear your testimony. And you're the nominee, so please have a seat. Yes, yes, ma'am. Good morning. Please state your name for the record, and then.
Half a day, my name is Candy Chow Okuhama. Can I give you a little bio about myself? Okay. Thank you. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to attend this hearing and to be considered for the ABC board position. I've been Guam resident since 1978. I attended San Vicente School, Antala Middle School, Academy of Our Lady, and I'm a graduate of the University of Guam with a BA in Business Management. Guam is my home, and I consider myself a local. I've had many great and diverse opportunities in my career path. At Docomo, my job was an account executive, and my responsibilities were to sell wireless telecom services and manage customer relationships, and we were highly regulated by the FCC. At DeWitt Moving and Storage, I was overseeing sales and marketing department for military and commercial relocations. And I also ran the records management business that was highly regulated by HIPAA, Graham-Leach-Bliley, and bonding was mandatory because of the highly confidential and sensitive nature of the data stored. Currently, I'm the Director of Sales and Client Relationships for ASC Trust. It's a trust company in the finance sector dealing with retirement planning and asset management that is heavily regulated by both U.S. and local government authorities. Trust, integrity, and compliance is our core philosophy. Hence, I'm exposed to the responsibilities required by the ABC board. I'm also AIF certified. This certification enables me to implement my fiduciary responsibilities with proper policies and procedures in investment practices. I'm also very familiar with board meetings, team discussions, and group decision-making based on facts, data, and common sense. I believe this experience from my work and my life will be an asset to the ABC board. I want to serve on the board in order to give back to the community I call home and help small businesses thrive while helping the local economy.
Thank you, Candy. Does any, the senators have any questions they want to pose on the nominee?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to come here to this hearing specifically to call him Mr. Chairman for his first public hearing, but also to support the nominees. First of all, Ms. Okuhama, thank you very much for extending yourself on behalf of the governor and really on behalf of the people of Guam to serve in this particular board. My question is just looking at your nomination, and perhaps the chairman can chime in on this. It says term served July 1st, 2016 to June 30, 2018. So by virtue of accepting this document, are we retroactively approving your appointment? Because we're not able to do that. This is the 34th Guam legislature. So maybe it was an oversight in terms of the information presented, but it's something that caught my mind and on my eyes when I was looking at the documentation. It says July 1st, 2016, and I would think that from the date of confirmation, you'll be able to carry out your responsibilities on the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board.
That would be my understanding, and Mr. Chairman, if you can help me address the term of
Yes,
this
well,
position.
what I'll be doing is I'll be getting with the governor's office so that we make sure to make the correction, make it the effective the date, if possible, even just this month.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Only because it's also recorded in the Legislative Journal, so I want to ensure that any information that's inserted into the Legislative Journal really reflects the decision and the action of the body. And another thing is, Ms. Okuhama, and I'll say this only because it recently transpired, their laws are in place and rules and regulations are in place specifically so that they protect the interests of the people of Guam. And my question to you is, if you were given legal advice by a representative from the Office of the Attorney General or by a assigned legal counsel for the government of Guam that says approving a particular application would be in opposition to the existing law, how would you react in that situation?
Actually, all my actions that I will take will always support in the best interest of the people of Guam and the board.
So you're saying that you will follow the law. That's all
I'm
I
very
wanna hear.
used to following rules, policies, and adhere to regulatory standards.
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, to me, not only getting that on the record, but also understanding, and it was in no way to question your decision to serve and your ability to serve, but with a recent activity that just took place, I think I'm compelled that every single time that I come and I participate in a confirmation hearing, I'm now compelled to ask that question, because legally, if you're given legal advice from either the Office of the Attorney General or a legally recognized government attorney, then we are subject to following that advice, unless we get something higher saying that, in fact, let's say a judgment ruled in the courts from a prior case or whatever the case may be. Certainly that would be a different circumstance. But thank you very much for once again extending yourself to the people of Guam and wanting to serve, and certainly wish you success. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Senator?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Okuhama, thank you also for your willingness to serve the community of Guam, and I appreciate that you pointed out how you have been required by all your different various career, the different jobs that you've had to follow very strict rules. Those are some of the strictest ones. So I appreciate that, and I think that does add a lot of credibility to your serving on our ABC board, and I think it's a very big responsibility, and I think there's a lot of maybe pressure sometimes that this board might come under, and so I think there are letters that have been submitted in advance of this hearing in support of your nomination, and I appreciate those also. These people are very credible in the community, and they speak highly of you and your integrity, and so I appreciate that. And I noticed too that on your application it says there's no other business interests that you are an owner in, but I just wanted to ask if you have any immediate family members who might be subject to the ABC board, their businesses or something.
No,
like that.
I don't have.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then again, I thank you. I thank you for your service, and yeah, I see no reason why not to support your nomination.
Thank you.
So
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And thank you, Candy. I'd like to first thank you for accepting the nomination and
you.
appearing before the legislature. And I actually look forward in communicating with you and the board, and the chairman is here. And he'll be asked to come forward and give his oral testimony on your behalf, and also Milton in the back. He's a good friend of mine. So actually, you got a good crowd. And, Miss Okuhama, just to let you know is that I used to be the compliance supervisor. So I used to be the guy that actually worked for and help out the chairman of the ABC on making sure that we're in compliance with the laws. And yes, exactly what Senator Elgin brought up, the issue of if legal advice is given by the AG, I would hope that the board will comply with their legal advice first before they go against it, because harmony in compliance with laws is one of the key things in revenue and tax. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, as Milton and
Do I stay?
Ray to, yeah, you're done. You can have a seat now. I'll ask Milton and Ray that's coming up, and we'll have them take turns. Yes, they're in support. And Milton, you'll be first. If you could just state your name, and then
Okay.
Ray will be next.
Good morning. Have a day. For record, my name is Milton Morinaga. I'm currently the chairman of Guam Business Bureau. I'm also a managing director of PHR Ken Micronesia, a company that owns 5 hotels in Guam. Again, Chairman San Agustin, congratulations for being a chairman and then being a new senator. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And to you, to Senator Terlahi. And Frank Elgin, welcome back again. Thank you. Anyway, okay, thank you for this opportunity to appear before you today. It is a privilege for me, and I'm honored to appear before you in this chamber, among dedicated public servants to support Candy Okuhama's nomination. I have known Candy Okuhama for the past 13 years. I've had opportunity to work with Candy when she was with the Duet Moving and Storage Company, and currently with ASC Trust Corporation. I found Candy to be very professional, reliable, and she is proactive and has ethical values and integrity. Candy has extensive experience from small business to a large corporation. Her background includes working in her family's sporting goods business, being an executive in a large luxury goods retail establishment, joining Duet Moving and Storage, and now ASC Trust Corporation. Her diverse experience in these businesses, as well as her community outreach skills, will be an asset to Alcohol and Beverage Commission. I am confident, and she will diligently apply herself to the task of enforcing Guam ABC Board rules and regulation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Luneta.
Good morning, Senators, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Speaker. It's a great day to be on Guam, and I'm very happy to be here amongst everybody. My name is Rainy A. Lanetta, Ray for short, and I'm here to support the nomination and confirmation of Ms. Candy Okuhama. I'm currently the chairman of the ABC board. I own a business in Guam, Master Consultants, and I do real estate in the Philippines with RE/MAX. And so I'm a businessman. I'm also a retired military guy, like the chairman, and we've worked together in the Army as well as with the ABC compliance. So I'm very, very happy to be here and to see the chairman taking over the helm with this Senate confirmation, because he knows what it takes, right? And he knows that we have a great team in the ABC board. And I think we're going to have an even greater team with Candy on board. And now we're going to be whole, because currently we have 4, and the board requires a maximum of 5. And when I heard that Candy was nominated by the governor to join us, I immediately called her, and I told her, wow, it's a great thing that he nominated you, because one, I know you, I know your capability, and I feel that it was a great nomination. And truly it is, and you all can see the support that she has here today, and it talks about her capability, the respect that she has, and the professionalism that she will bring to the board. Senator Allen talked about compliance of the law and ensuring that we do things legally. That's the hallmark of our goals and objectives in the ABC board. One is ensure that we follow the law, and 2, that we support the businesses, and we ensure that the businesses also follow the law, right? And that's very important to us. And we, as a mindset, do not want to hamper the ability of businesses to do business and profit for themselves. But we also want to ensure that if these businesses break the law, that we will come down hard on them and ensure that they are not shortchanging the people of Guam by doing what they're doing if they're doing things illegally. So with that said, having Candy in our team, wow, now we're whole. We won't have these issues with not having quorum and things like that. That was the past. And we're moving forward into the future, and we're going to be doing great things for our island as board members of the ABC board. So please confirm her, and we will ensure that we do great things for the people of Guam. Thank you.
Do any of the senators have any questions you want to pose on Mr. Morinaga and Mr. Lanetta?
Just one question, Mr. Yanetta. What do you find to be the biggest challenge in your role as chairperson of the board of the ABC? I'm just trying to
well,
what can I expect?
I think that the biggest challenge we have is manpower. Putting trained and capable people in the compliance branch to ensure that they're out there and visible, to be the check and balance for the government, ensuring that there aren't any businesses out there that are doing bad things. One is that if they're trying to go around the law and pocket what should be for the government and for the people of Guam, that's wrong. But also if they're allowing underage people to consume alcohol, or they're going beyond the time that they're supposed to be selling alcohol, that's a big problem. And so for me, enforcement compliance is a big deal, and that the need for having adequate manpower in the compliance branch is really very important, because visibility ensures that we have our checks and balances, and that if these businesses see that they are being monitored, then they would not freely think that they can do anything that they want to do. And that's good for us too, because that brings in revenue that I think is just spilling over and not being captured into our coffers, basically. And so putting more people into the ABC compliance branch, I think will pay for itself. And so that's the biggest issue that I think we face right now is enforcement, compliance, making sure that businesses follow the law. You don't hear anything right now in the news about that And I think it's because we don't have the adequate manpower to go out there and find them, right? So yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, and thank you to both of you. You're taking the time to come down and testify. For me, is very important. It really makes a difference. So I thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sirs. I'd like to also recognize, present is Senator Regina Lee, the Legislative Secretary. We have also listed here, I guess everybody's in support and don't want to testify, but I'll just call your name, and if you're just looking at not providing a testimony, and that's okay. We have Carmen Calvo. Is she here? Did you want to testify? Okay. Okay, and then we got David Sue. Or David John, I'm sorry. Okay. The J looked like an S, so I didn't want to. Okay. No, only because you signed in, but you didn't mark if. I just realized that. Yeah, you want to provide some oral? Okay, please feel free. Come on up. Come on up, Mr. John.
Sorry about that. Can you imagine my staff is always doing that. What the heck did he say? Yeah. Thank gosh for emails, priority emails.
And right before you start, Mr. John, I'll just recognize the other folks that have marked here. We have Sophia Chu. You've marked. You're in support. No testimony, right? Okay. We have Bill Berry. All right, and you're in support. And we have Alice Chu. Oh, good supporter, Candy. Good supporter. And we got Anita Baldovino, and in support. Okay, so Mr. John, you're it.
Sorry about that, Senator.
Not a problem, sir.
I'll make sure I print better next time. For the record, my name is David John. I'm president of ASC Trust Corporation and also vice chairman of the Guam Economic Development Authority. I've testified in support of Candy. We've known her as a family member. We call her family for 20-some years now. She joined our company in 2002 or 2012 to work with me professionally. And just to kind of give you an idea of her professionalism, hiring friends and having friends come work for you isn't always the best idea. And so we had talked about this for a couple of years. It seemed like a good fit, but she's a good family friend, and you never want to divide that up. But it's really her professionalism that allowed for her to come on board, work with us, continue the friendship, elevate the friendship, but at the same time become a key member of our company. When things are going on with the company, big things are going on, she's always there. She's always there to push it, do the extra work. She doesn't commit to things she's not going to follow through on. And so I was happy when I found out that she was going to step up and become a board member, or as long as it's approved by you, but I would heavily endorse her. But I was excited to hear that she stepped up and was willing to sit on a board and help on the community side of that. I know she'll do a good job. I know she'll be very professional with what she does, because that's what she's all about. But I wanted to put my oral testimony in also. I did a written testimony also. Thank you.
Any of the senators on the panel want to ask, please?
Okay. Thank you.
Good morning,
Oh,
Mr.
sorry.
John. One quick question
Yes.
for you. And how long did Candy work with you? What was the-
2012. So she's still with us.
She's still with
So yeah,
the
definitely.
length of time is from 2012 to the present?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, that being said, there's no other testimony for the public hearing on Miss Candy Okuhama is complete. Thank you. And then now we'll recognize now the other candidates for the other boards. You can be excused now. Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day. The next nominee would be Mr. Earl J. Garrido for the Cockpit License Board, and we have Angelina Mummert. Ma'am, you would like to present testimony, and then we also have Mr. Garrido. Mr. Garrido, please come on up, and then we'll allow Ms. Mummert, right? Am I pronouncing it correctly? Okay. We'll have you testify first, and then I'll have you next, because you're the nominee, okay? And she's in support of you. She came, so she's good. If you can just press the mic, and if you can just speak in the mic and just identify yourself.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, great. My name is, excuse me. Good morning, I'm Angelina Mummert, and I'm here to present testimony in support of the appointment of Earl J. Garrido to be a member of the Guam Cockpit License Board. I have known Earl all his life because he is my younger brother. And so I'm well placed to speak on his merits. And I know all his secrets, so. So he's been in public service most of his life, following in the footsteps of our late parents. Between our parents and ourselves, we have combined more than a century's worth of public service to the island. He's a retired Government of Guam employee, having worked for the Guam Power Authority for more than 30 years. He rose through the ranks, working his way from entry level to supervisory positions during his government career. Not content to be fully retired, he sought out new challenges, and his second career took him into the real estate arena as a realtor, where he has worked for the past decade. He's proven himself to be a leader in our family, and having served for many years as co-administrator of our grandfather's family estate. He's extremely good at finding solutions to difficult issues and educates himself on all the laws and regulations surrounding the issue before offering suggestions or making decisions. I've always known him to be a hard worker and committed to the betterment of our community. He has extensive knowledge and experience in government operations, but also expertise in real estate and administrative experience running our family's estate. I'm fully confident that he'll be a good addition to the Cockpit Licensing Board, and that he will work diligently to ensure that all the rules and regulations surrounding the licensing of the sport will be adhered to, and will do his utmost to preserve the integrity of the license board. Very respectfully, Angelina Mummert, older sister.
Thank you, Ms. Mummert. Does any of the senators have any questions you want to ask Ms. Mummert? Okay, then we'll proceed to Mr. Garrido, the nominee.
Thank you, senators, and congratulations on your role as senators. I saw all of you during the campaign, so I know where you've been and I know where you are now. Thank you and congratulations. And for Senator Ogun also, I extend my greetings and my congratulations for being in the 34th Guam legislature. I don't know how I can follow up after what my sister have just said. I mean, that's my biggest endorsement. Okay, and I did submit a written testimony, and I don't really think you need me to read through it. You have it before you, and I would just like to highlight a few things in my past. Yes, I retired from GPA. I started out from being a trainee and worked my way up to manager of computer services. I dedicated my life to GPA at that time, and I spent many long hours and many long years through many typhoons serving the people of Guam. I got out of service, and if you look through my thing, it says I spent a few weeks at home after retiring from GPA. I tended a small garden, and I raised chickens, not for fighting, for eggs. And that took all of like 30 to 45 minutes a day, in the morning and in the evening, and I had a large dead period of time, and I felt I was wasting my life. I wanted to do more, and I felt that I can do more. So I started my second career after giving it a lot of thought, and I decided to become a realtor. So I took a 6-week class for the preparation of the examination, which was proctored up at ULG. I passed, and I immediately got my license, and I joined the Guam Association of Realtors and the National Association of Realtors to this date. This was back in 2006, so like she said, I've been there for a decade. It didn't seem that long, but it is in hindsight. I do take my job seriously. In the 80s, I was nominated and received the award for the Outstanding Young Man of America twice. And I received the Governor's Excel Award, and I believe it was 91 or 92 as a nominee from GPA. And I retired in 2005, around September, October. And like I said, I stayed home for a few weeks doing these little tasks and finding that big dead time. And I didn't want to feel like I'm wasting my life, so I started out a new career, and I've been adhering to that. 2 years ago, I ran for the CCU, but I was unsuccessful, but you know, that's life. And the reason I ran for the CCU is I felt that the ratepayers were not being duly served. So that's what prompted me to run. I didn't have any financial support from anyone. All my expenses were out of pocket because I felt it was my duty and my responsibility. I carried this over if I should become a member of the commission with my integrity. If you note in my testimony that realtors are set to a higher standard of integrity, and part of the motto and the preamble is the land. And also that realtors take a pledge of ethics, which is more stringent than what the law requires. Okay, so I can roll that over into this role as a commissioner for the cockfighting licensing board. I don't think it's a bad situation because I feel in my heart I can serve the island and the government, and I can only help make things better.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Senators.
Does any of the senators on the panel like to ask Mr. Garrido any question? Senator Frank?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Garrido, once again, I guess this is going to be a standard statement, but thank you for stepping up and extending yourself to our community on behalf of Governor Cabo. Certainly appreciate you wanting to serve in this particular capacity. Again, well, first of all, the first question would be, is showing in your document that the term would be for 1 year. Is that by law or?
You know, Senator, I believe it is by law. It's in the regulations.
Okay.
But if you want my opinion on that, I think it's too short. By the time I'm seated and we start trying to do something, the term expires, and then.
And also, you want to maintain some semblance of continuity.
Yes, sir.
Individuals who know the process, who have been there, who have made good decisions on behalf of the community.
Yes, sir.
You
But
know,
I guess that would be up to you guys to make the changes.
That would be
in
up
law.
to the chairman. I'll leave that to the chairman if in fact the requirement is 1 year. Other than that, I guess the standard question again would be if in fact you are advised by a representative from the Office of the Attorney General or a legally acquired legal counsel on behalf of the government of Guam, that any application that is before the Cockpit License Board, it would be in opposition of the law. What would your decision be?
The decision would have already been made. If it's against the law, it's clear cut.
Okay, and I say this, and I shared it with you, and you were in the room in terms of an incident that occurred recently, but one thing that I want to, rather than just saying, okay, it's against the law, it's against the law. If an initiative or an application is going to benefit the community and benefit our own people, then certainly there's a way to amend the law. And we all need to be able to understand that you come before the legislative body, you propose any amendments, and if in fact the majority of the members concede that that's going to ultimately benefit the process, benefit the entire community, then certainly we need to take that into consideration and give that flexibility. So I'm not leaving it at just follow the law and end there. But if you as a board member feel very strongly that that particular application, because it's not in conformance with the law, the existing law, you feel that that will still benefit the community, then I encourage you and the board to work with your respective chairman and see what can be done to make appropriate amendments. Because as long as it's going to benefit the interests of our community, that's first and foremost. And we certainly want to make sure that we understand that the laws are meant to be dynamic in nature and that they can be amended so that in fact the community ultimately benefits. So thank you again for extending yourself, and I wish you success. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Could I just add into a little bit from what you said? I believe that I know there are 3 branches of government, and the legislature is the branch that creates laws. And and that's what you were saying, if we see that there is a need to change the law, because the law is not set in stone, that's why we have you guys. You know, you can make changes to the law so it becomes stronger. But yes, if we see that there's a need to make a change, we come before this body and we request that they give considerations for amending the law.
Thank
And
you.
that's the route that I would take. It's like when we sit down and we start setting up our budgets when I was in government, you know, you start looking forward. And in looking forward, then you go to your uplines, and with your uplines, you sell them the product. When they buy it, it's good. When they don't buy it, you have to find a way around it to resell it. And you guys are the ones that will be able to change the law, and it's very clear.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Garrido. Thank you, Mr. Madam Vice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Garrido, thank you again for being here today, and Ms. Mummert, thank you. But I want to commend you on your service at GPA, first of all. That is a very impressive record that you had starting.
That was my complete government service. I started
it
there.
was
I ended
dedicated service, and
Yes.
I appreciate that. And starting from the bottom, rising up, I very much appreciate that also. And have you served on the Cockpit board before?
there. No, ma'am. But
Okay.
I was nominated last year, but never went into session.
Okay. And I just have a couple questions regarding your packet, if you don't mind. Just
Sure.
Okay, so one is when it says employment history, GPA ends at 2005, and then you said you've been doing real estate since 2006, but here it says Laddystone Properties from 2010 to present. So I guess I just wanted to ask, generally between 2006 and 2010, were there any other?
No, I was still with real estate. I started with the real estate professional's office, and later on in 2010, I transferred over to Laddystone Properties.
Okay. So different real estate companies, you're saying?
Yes,
Okay.
different brokerage.
All right. And then the other question is under the list of businesses that you have an interest in. There's one 50% ownership in a karaoke club, and I just wanted to know, does this karaoke club, well, who are the other owners, may I ask?
My wife.
Okay, and does this karaoke club,
Actually, I'm just a paper owner.
does it conduct any gaming activities to your knowledge?
No.
No, okay. All right, thank you very much. Mr. Garrido and
Unless you want to consider grading singers, but other than that.
yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you again for your service. Thank you.
Madam Secretary, would you like to?
Hafide, Mr. Garrido, I also want to extend my congratulations to you and my sincere thanks for accepting the appointment from Governor Calvo. And also thank you, Mrs. Mummert, for your testimony. That it's really powerful to have family speak on your behalf, especially, you know, people who have known you your entire life. So that's really compelling. I also wanted to thank you for your service at the Guam Power Authority. And in your packet, it mentions that you were the systems manager, data systems manager. And I'm sure that there are other things in your experience, in your long career at GPA, that you could bring to the table in this instance for the commission. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity to maybe share that. You talked a little bit about real estate and about ethics and those kinds of things, but is there anything in particular from your time and your experience at GPA that you'd like to share with the committee?
Well, GPA is much like revenue tax. They operate on a normal basis, but then you have extreme times, and in Guam's history, we have extreme typhoons. And I've been with GPA, and we've worked through all these typhoons, all the devastations of the typhoon, during the typhoons and post restoration. So it takes a lot of time and a lot of foresight. So we try and plan things, and if it comes to like what Senator Agustin is saying, if we need to make a change because that's the route that should be taken, then we go through the appropriate measures to make the changes. But we don't just jump on the boat knowing that there's a leak, you know. So we put in the time, and we try and evaluate and analyze the situation, and then we go forward.
Okay, thank you very much. And one follow-up question to what Senator Uggan had mentioned earlier about the one-year term. If it were up to you, what would you suggest that the committee consider changing the term limit to?
I think more in line with management type of services. I think 3 years, if not 4, but 3 years is more ideal, because there's a, what the commission does is it takes time, but then to try and interact with the legislature to make changes to the law takes even longer. So, yeah, I think the 1 year time period is very short.
Okay.
And it's a commission of only 3 members, and the chairman is the tiebreaker, so if the 2 commissioners don't agree, it goes to the chairman.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Garrido. And, just to let you know, Mr. Garrido, is that there's nobody on the commission right now.
I know.
And my office is looking at reevaluating all the boards at Revenue and Tax, to the point where the Cockpit Commission happens to be a compliance issue. So be looking forward to, I may be asking the legislature and the governor to, once you're confirmed, is that you may be participating. You may be participating on the next board. That may be consolidation of all the compliance boards that exist at the Department of Revenue and Taxation, because it's been years, and this has been through all the governors. They'll nominate one person to the Cockpit, and they can never get to the number 2 to have a quorum. So be patient, and let's hope for the best, because once everything is approved and done, then you'll be able to take a look at the books and stuff like that, but you won't be able to convene as a board until there's at least 2. So I am taking a look at that so we can help the Department of Revenue and Tax. And 3 to 4 years is actually what I was eyeing on the consolidation of the boards. Okay, because that's the only way the boards can actually sit down, exactly what you're saying, is come up with some reasonable requests for amendments to laws. All right, and thank you for accepting the nomination.
Thank you also for considering me, and thank you if you do confirm me, because I think we can do a lot together.
Yes, we can, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we will move to the nomination of Mr. Schnabel. And you're here. All right, sir. Come on up, sir. If you can please state your name and speak on the mic.
Thank you,
And
Mr. Chairman. Sorry for the confusion on the schedule.
You're okay. You're here. You're next.
It helps being within walking distance. My name is Ray Schnabel, and thank you for your consideration of my nomination. I've submitted written testimony which outlines qualifications. I have 30 years of experience in the insurance industry, which basically, which is kind of unique. I've got the experience across all facets of the insurance industry, across all sectors: property and casualty, homeowners, auto, commercial, and more recently on the health side. One thing that I didn't mention is it would be good, I think, for somebody on the current insurance and banking board to know something about health insurance, given our new U.S. president and his rhetoric or intentions about changing Obamacare and how that would affect us. Well, I'll let my testimony speak for itself.
Okay, Mr. Schnabel, do you have anything else you wanted to bring up with the panel?
No, Mr. Chairman. Well, it is good to see some fresh faces in this panel and at the legislature. Congratulations. And some old faces.
and some, at least one, right? Does anybody on the panel, any senators, would like to make any comments to Mr. Schnabel? Senator Frank.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Sable, thank you for extending yourself once again on this particular board and on behalf of Governor Calvo and serving our people. The one question that I would like to present to you, and there's no need to highlight what has transpired recently because I'm sure you're familiar with it, but if in fact you're presented with legal advice from either a attorney from the Office of the Attorney General or a recognized government of Guam contracted attorney that provides the board members with advice that considering a particular application would be contrary to law, how would you react or act?
I don't quite understand the question, Senator, but
Okay,
you're saying the attorney would be advising
I know
something?
you were not in the room when I had shared with the members previously, but there was an incident that occurred a couple weeks back where, in fact, a representative, an assistant attorney general, advised a board member or board members that considering a particular application would be contrary to existing law. Despite that advice, the board members proceeded and acted and approved that application, rather than looking at the law and saying, okay, this particular application would be beneficial to the community. Let's make sure that we can work with the legislature and amend the law so that it can be an allowable activity. So that's why the question is being posed.
I see. Well, I regard, legal advice, actuarial advice, accounting advice from highly professional individuals. It would have to be very unusual to go against advice of professionals which you've hired for that advice.
So that's neither a yes or no. So, but
I would
that's
like
why
to
I
say,
qualified my statement, Mr. Schnabel. I said, if the board members are advised by an attorney from the Office of the Attorney General or a legally contracted government of Guam attorney on the proposed action of the board members, how would you act?
I would say I would act and take the advice of the lawyer. It would have to be extremely unusual, and I don't want to say, never, but it would be highly unusual to not follow the advice of your lawyer.
I understand. You're
as a short answer,
you're leaving yourself an out.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I qualify my statement. If the attorney is from the Attorney General's office or a legally contracted attorney with the government of Guam, let's say if Reverend Tax is given that authority to have an attorney, and that attorney says this is contrary to law, do not approve it at this point in time, your alternative is to approach the legislature and provide or propose an amendment to the law so that this application, if it's beneficial to the community and in the best interest of our people, should proceed. So that's where the line of questioning is coming from, and I think you're still giving yourself an out, Mr. Schnabel. And I think it really comes down to nobody is above the law.
Mm-hmm.
And
if it's contrary to the law, and if it's contrary to the law, you have to follow the law. If the lawyer says that's contrary to law.
Thank you, Rick.
Madam Speaker.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's very clear you have a experience that will benefit the board, and I thank you for your agreeing to serve. Can I just clarify one thing in your packet where they list financial interests? They list you as a stockholder of Calvo's Insurance, but then I don't know. There's on every line it says stockholder less than 2%, but it doesn't continue to list.
Actually,
is that a typo?
that's a glitch in the PDF supplied to us by the legislature. You fill in one line and it
copies it down.
And it copies it down for some reason.
All right, thank you. I just want to clarify that because I think I noticed this in more than one packet, but I wanted to be sure. Thank you. And okay, so no, I think I'm hoping that you also, in your role on the board, give the legislature some guidance as to what you think we should do when the federal government, or even before that, if we can be prepared, right, to plan for the the federal government pulling back on Obamacare and things like that. So, but I appreciate your service. Thank you very much, Mr. Schnabel.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Mr. Schnabel, for responding to the governor's request and for accepting the nomination and for putting yourself forward before the committee this morning. I agree with the Vice Speaker. I really look forward to working with you and the other members of the board, should you be confirmed, to try to tackle some of these issues that'll be coming up for our community. I wanted to ask you, how many members are there currently on the insurance board? Are you aware?
I'm not quite sure of the makeup. I know there are 3 insurance representatives, 3 banking representatives, and a lawyer is required, somebody from the public.
Okay.
And I know I'm missing 1 or 2 more, so there could be 9 or 10. I'm not too sure, Senator.
Okay. And in your statement, in your packet, and you alluded to this in your opening statement, that that your experience includes all facets of the industry, from property and casualty, life and health, and I think that's an important aspect that you bring to the board. You also mentioned that you feel that the board's efforts should be directed towards a number of things: protecting the welfare of insurance consumers, ensuring reliable coverage, and then you also mentioned educating consumers and educating the public. So I just wanted to ask you specifically, what mechanisms do you think that the board should request, or that maybe the legislature might be able to assist you in educating the public with regard to insurance and reliable coverage, and also reducing fraud in insurance? So what are some of the mechanisms that you would suggest that we can use to educate consumers and the general community with regard to insurance and banking?
You know, that's a good question, Senator. There are a lot of facets of any insurance product that are harder to understand than the other pieces of coverage. There are many ways to educate consumers. There currently is no regulation as to what sort of education material or explanation material are included with products, other than those mandated by the federal government. It would be helpful for consumers if some of this information was included. Maybe additional regulation providing information. If the industry doesn't want to do it voluntarily, and that's one of the disconnects between the regulators and the insurance industry. Regulators are looking at one thing. The insurance industry is not very aware of what they intend, what they want, and a lot of these things, all it takes is the insurance commissioner or the regulators to say, can you guys start providing this? And it's provided. The insurance industry, in my testimony, I'm the current chairman of the Insurance Association, which is the Insurance Industry Association, and we're proud to be a tight, unified, fairly disciplined group. And if that's a request that comes down from the insurance commissioner, if it's reasonable and it's a good idea, everyone would comply.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Schnabel, so then we could look forward in the legislature that once you're confirmed, that when we ask the board, the bank and insurance board, that to find ways to make sure that we regulate the group that you're chairman of, it'll work. It'll work in his favor, because we're not looking at over-regulating business. That's not the way we should be doing business. It's actually, we should make sure that business prosper on Guam, because it's a circle of life, and I think it'll work in everybody's favor. Is there anything else you wanted to bring before this panel?
No, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Schnabel.
Thank you.
You know, just a public reminder, so that's because it's on the TV. The committee will continue to receive testimonies for the next few days. Please address your written testimony to the Committee on Education, Finance, and Taxation, and submit it via email to Senator Joe S. San Agustin at gmail.com. My office located at the Rand Care Building, second floor, Suite 3, 761 South Marine Corps Drive, Tamuning, Guam. Situs Masi for your attendance and participating in today's hearing. And for those at home, thank you for watching.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Time is 9:55.